Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of our distance learning webinar series where we're going to be talking about our summer programming options, both original credit and FlexCap. And we'll also talk about some fall semester information, including enrollment dates and dual credit and some tips for a strong start. So throughout the presentation, we'll point out some resources which we will send you as live links later on when we pass along the recording. So just to introduce us, with me here is Robin Nuttall. She's the Distance Learning Program Director here at MTDA, and I'm Susan Quinn, and I'm the Distance Learning Ambassador. So we'll go ahead and get started with Robin.
All right, so as Susan said, we're going to go over our upcoming programming both for original credit and for FlexCap. We're going to begin by talking a little bit about our summer original credit programming. So our summer programming is an abbreviated version of the same courses that we offer during the school year. That means we take 18 weeks of content and we sneak it into about 18 days. So what typically is our fall session runs from June 16th to July 18th. And then what typically would be our spring classes runs from July 21st to August 22nd. Because this is such a condensed space, students can be expected to spend between 4 to 5 hours per day in a course. So we really recommend when making decisions about summer enrollment that you think about other things that may be going on in a student's life. As we have fewer teachers during the summer, as well as fewer enrollments, we run fewer courses. So the course offerings are listed down here below. And this year we are adding English 1, English 2, and Algebra 2 to that list. But at this point, we're pretty much sticking with the high school graduation requirements. We do not yet offer any middle school courses over the summer unless students are taking advanced coursework. The next piece I'm going to talk about is a little bit our summer FlexCap programming. So FlexCap stands for Flexible Credit Alternative Program. Essentially what it looks like during the summer is an in-house program at your local school. So it might be similar to other summer school programs that you're offering. Students would come into school. They would have a local support person who's providing support. That person would help enter proctoring codes because all of our tests are proctored. They would also provide some goal setting with kids, help encourage them along, help facilitate discussions between families and between school. Students to do a pre-assessment in FlexCap, and if they're successful on the pre-assessment, then they get to skip some content. So that's why that proctoring piece is so essential. And then if they don't successfully pass the pre-assessment, they're going to work through the lessons one at a time. So they'll have a mastery assessment that they turn in to be graded by our teachers, and they'll also have a quiz that's self-graded and gives them immediate feedback. Because sometimes they're wanting to move quickly during the summer, our teachers provide 1 hour grading turnaround time. Our teachers are actually a lot faster than that, and sometimes students will have things graded within a few minutes, but 1 hour is the maximum amount of time that a student would have to wait for something to be graded, and that just depends on how many things are submitted at once. Our summer FlexCap list is located here, and you can see that we offer the same FlexCap courses that we offer during the school year. There's no changes to that program, but it is important to note that all of our courses are divided into quarters for FlexCap. So when enrolling students, it's important to pay attention to whether you're in A, Part 1 or Part 2, or B, Part 1 or Part 2 as well. We'll also, as we get closer to summer, we will send out to schools a staff contact form. The purpose of that form is we know that who your local contact is during the school year might be different during the summer. And we want to make sure that if our teachers notice someone is struggling and that a student needs some additional support, that they're calling the correct person. We don't want them to flounder for a few days since the summer timeline is so quick. All right. The next program I'm going to talk about is our fall program. So enrollment is already open for fall. We have classes that are starting to have students enroll in. The enrollment deadline is August 27th. The important piece about that August 27th part to think about is your school may or may not have been in session by the time our classes start. So if you have students who you know are going to enroll in MTDA classes next year, it's probably a good idea to get them enrolled now so that you don't have to worry about it when you come back from the summer break. Our classes begin on September 2nd, and then we do have late enrollment until September 5th. The important piece about that late enrollment is that's a limited space. The late enrollment is only for classes that have additional spots left because we will have already finished staffing our sections and we won't be able to find new teachers during that time. The other important thing to know about fall is we're excited to say we're offering 83 high school credit courses. We're offering 20 middle school credit courses. And we're also offering 11 dual credit courses that Susan's going to talk about in a few minutes. Our fall offerings always follow the same protocol that they've done in the past, where students have assignments per week. They can choose kind of during the day when they work, but we want to make sure that students are spending 4 to 7 hours per class each week. They're all taught by a certified Montana teacher, and students get feedback weekly on how they're doing in classes. If you click on our academic calendar here, you'll notice we have a middle school, high school calendar. This is for the classes we're currently running right now, but if you scroll down, you'll be able to see the FlexCap calendar, the summer calendar, as well as the FlexCap summer calendar, and then the last one down here is that fall calendar. And it's important to note that it indicates when the classes begin, when the late enrollment deadlines are, and it also points out when we release grades to school because we may not be on the same calendar that your local school is on. We're also going to include for you here our original credit course list, which shows the classes that we're offering. There's a little coding system down here in the corner that shows what some of these symbols mean, if something is a single semester or if something is a dual credit course. And Susan will talk a little bit more about that. And then our middle school course list as well. Something to note is that there are a few middle school courses that have an enrollment cap, which means they will be first come, first serve. And now I'm going to hand it off to Susan so she can talk a little bit about our dual credit offerings.
So MTDA's dual credit offerings have grown in the past year due to increased demand. So we partner with 5 different colleges across the state, offering the 11 courses that Robin talked about. We have health sciences, medical terminology. We have 3 math courses, 2 semesters of U.S. history, 2 computer science courses, including our new cybersecurity offering, 3 education courses so that we can start growing our own here in the state of Montana, and then RIT 101 or college writing, which is just a general education course that all college students will need. So our dual credit courses, they're really built to mirror the college level rigor of college courses while still offering the same support students receive in other MTDA courses. So it includes, weekly grade reports sent to students, parents, and the school. It includes the observer role for both parents and school personnel to keep track of progress. So while we're pushing these students to be college ready, we also acknowledge the fact that they're teenagers and we still need to keep track of what's going on with them. So it remains tricky, though, to find teachers with the proper certifications to teach dual credit courses. So it's just really important to register early. Most dual credit courses will be full by August. So again, if you have students who are anxious to enroll in a dual credit course, please do that before you leave for the summer. So we'll also provide a link to this dual credit flyer here at the bottom. That one is a Canva a flyer, and if you click on the flyer itself, you'll get to page 2, which gives the list of course offerings. So the next thing we'll talk about is just a couple of tips about starting strong in the fall or at the beginning of any semester. So if we could narrow down the beginning of the semester kind of best practices to just a few things, it would be these. So the first is to just know that online courses are not for everyone. So we recommend starting by ensuring that you have students interact with the online learning readiness matrix that Robin will show you here. It's just really helpful to have students self-reflect. So give them that matrix and ask them to circle the cells they feel match their own strengths in each of the columns. It's just a really good conversation starter about, what is the best course format for them. And then the second thing is to use the entrance counseling form just to be sure parents and students are in the know about what will be expected of them in an online course. Um, Once in a great while, we find a parent who is really surprised that their child is in an online course, and we don't want anyone to be surprised. So just being fully transparent with parents about the expectations and format, it just goes miles in smoothing the path to success for the students. So the entrance counseling form really helps with those conversations. If you and the student sort of determine that the student maybe doesn't have the right skills to be successful in an online course, that entrance counseling form is just kind of a good conversation starter for parents to just talk about this is what would be expected of the student in an online format. But it's also in this one-page format. On the second page of it, it includes space to record login information for each course, teacher names, etc. So that's just a good one-page document to kind of help with those conversations with both students and parents. And finally, the beginning of the semester, starting with a meeting with students and local support adults really helps to develop kind of shared expectations about how online learning will look at your school. So we have an outline about how that might look, and that's linked in the resources as well. So, for instance, if you have students working on their courses during a specific period, we'd highly recommend holding a meeting during that period, with the adult who will be in the room. So you can outline behavioral expectations about what that room will look like, kind of how the MTDA academic honesty policy overlaps with your school's academic honesty policy, how activities eligibility might be determined. This whole thing, a meeting with students and that adult, can really show support for adult in the room and really ensures that everyone has kind of the same language and information about what's expected. And then the last thing is just to monitor heavily during that first week. We'll give you a link to how to run an activities report. And that just shows that how to make sure that students have been logged into their course. We would highly recommend running that seriously every day, that first week of course of the courses. Just to be sure you know who has and hasn't logged in. So just keep getting on students about getting started. We just know that the later a student gets started, the less successful they will likely be. So it's just so important to monitor, early and often during that first week or two, just to be sure that all of the students have gotten started. And that's especially important if your school calendar doesn't mesh with ours, because obviously it's harder to get students started if they're kind of, off their schedule. So finally, and our last slide, just thanks so much for joining us. We realize that everybody has such a busy schedule, but we like to spend some time just giving you a little bit of information during these webinars. We'll send a recording to this video to all people who registered in the next 24 hours, probably just later today, along with all of these links to resources and a link to the slides. So we're happy to answer any questions you have at any time. All you need to do is contact support@mtda.org, and we're on call to answer your questions. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.